Hello everybody, welcome back to Popped In, your home for all things pop culture, and today we're gonna once again be talking about the new Star Wars show for Disney Plus, Star Wars Visions, and this time we're gonna be talking about the third episode called The Twins. Now, it's hard for me to kind of rank this with The Duel, which is the first episode, because The Duel was like a masterpiece, as a piece of art, kind of in my opinion. Just the way it was presented, the style and everything, it felt like the perfect kind of Star Wars anime, the perfect jumping off point for this series. But The Twins, to me at least, it felt more like traditional classic Star Wars, like the original trilogy, in that same vein. And the things that make me feel that way I'm going to talk about later in the video, because I first want to give you a summary of the episode. So just a brief summarization of what happens. The film, I guess it is a short film. The episode is about two twins, Kare and Am, who are created in the dark side following the, it's during the time of the Empire, and the film is set, I keep saying the film because I was reading about it and it said short film. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. The episode is set after episode 6, if we can base it on any point canon, because these aren't really canon, so I've kind of talked about that before. I don't have to rehash that every time. But the episode, the timeline is post episode 6. The Empire seems to be kind of on its last legs. They're in battle with the New Republic. And we get to see these two twins on a super, I guess it's just a Star Destroyer that's kind of conjoined with a super weapon in the middle. And it's pretty unique in its design, and the fact that it's just two Star Destroyers with a big cannon in the middle. But yeah, the two are on the Star Destroyer. They're going, which they can use to blow up planets, of course, because what is Star Wars without a planet-killing super weapon? But they're there with two droids, B2ON, which is a protocol droid that is like a dark, evil version of C3PO, and kind of like a 000 from the Dr. Aphra comics. But they have B2ON and R-Duo, who is the astromech droid, who kind of is like a R2-D2 counterpart for this. But B2ON is assigned to Am, the sister, and R-Duo is assigned to Kare, the brother, which Kare has stolen the kyber crystal that powers the super weapon and is trying to escape because he saw in a vision that Am would get consumed by her hatred, her dark power, and she would eventually succumb to her corruption. And to keep her from dying, Kara is going to steal the crystal so she cannot be consumed by the dark side. But Am is kind of over the edge a little bit, and she doesn't want to lose her powers, so she threatens to take it by force, and the igniting of her two lightsabers kind of makes it seem like she ain't going to let him go without a fight. So Kara is able to escape in an X-Wing with R-Duo, but Am stops him, destroys the X-Wing, and Kare has to battle her. He uses the kyber crystal, he puts it in his lightsaber, and it's a very cool looking lightsaber color as well. It's like a mixture of blue and purple, so that looks really nice. But he battles Am, and then R-Duo rescues him, and they use the power of hyperspace and the kyber crystal powered lightsaber to destroy the Star Destroyer, and we get a image very reminiscent of The Last Jedi, the destruction of the First Order ship in the movie with the Holdo maneuver. That was cool to see that as a callback. Yeah, once they destroy the ship, they go in hyperspace and crash land on Tatooine, where Kare has like a little closing monologue with R-Duo, and he promises to find Am, bring her back to the light side, because he is her brother, and that's what he needs to do. So fairly simple story, which I mentioned with The Duel. These are kind of simple stories, which kind of is expected. It's a 15 to 20 minute time frame, so kind of am not expecting something huge, like some crazy off the wall story, but a little short, simple thing that kind of encompasses the nature of Star Wars, which I feel like this did a really good job at doing. And a couple of things I wanted to point out. First and foremost, the visuals in this episode are amazing. It's crazy, frenetic. Like the battle in space between Am and Kare is it's beautiful to watch. And like the crazy visuals we see, like I mentioned, Kare's lightsaber with the kyber crystal in it looks great. Am, her suit with the multiple arms, kind of like General Grievous or Iron Spider from Avengers, if you need a Marvel reference. But it definitely feels like how the duel, it felt like a more traditional, like something like the Seven Samurai or something. It felt like that. This felt more like a traditional like anime, like something like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or something. It feels more like that than like a laid back kind of introspective look. This is just the crazy action packed kind of example, which I feel like is perfect for a Star Wars short film. And not only are the visuals amazing and stuff, but the story, while simple, is like the perfect twist to the Star Wars story, especially the original trilogy, because whereas that is a focus on Luke and Leia as the light side twins who are seeking to destroy the Empire, this kind of gives us the inverse of that, where Luke and Leia are twins created in the dark side. Kind of, they aren't really there to fight. Well, Kare doesn't want to fight for good or evil. He just wants to look out for his sister, whereas Am just wants power and is more on the side of evil. So that's why Kare battles her. And it's pretty cool to see like qualities of Luke and Leia with both of them, especially more so Luke with Kare. Am didn't seem that much like Leia, other than a couple elements, but it seemed like a more Anakin-infused Luke and Anakin-infused Leia, as opposed to just carbon copies of both of them. Like Luke more with Anakin's heart, and Leia with Anakin's aggression, kind of, is how I would summarize each of those characters. Like Kare is like the more heroic and stoic Anakin version of Luke, whereas Leia is the more off-the-wall, crazy version of Anakin and Leia mixed together. So, yeah, and also, Am is served by a protocol droid, an evil C-3PO, if you will, and Luke is served by R2, who is not really an evil version of R2. It kind of seems like R2 when he was with Anakin on Mustafar, where he's just like, all right, you're kind of crazy, but I'm just going to go along with it. So it seems like R2 is kind of just like, all right, y'all are kind of evil and stuff, but I'm just going to go along with it. He doesn't seem to be inherently evil like B209 is. It's a cool twist on the traditional story of the twins with Luke and Leia, with the droids included. And as I mentioned, it just felt like the most Star Wars of these first 3 episodes, at least. There may be other episodes that kind of surpass it in its position, if you will, in that spectrum for me. But the family-based story, which is kind of integral to Star Wars, the visuals and action is very much Star Wars, and the grand stakes, and of course, like I mentioned, of course, it's got to have a super weapon. What's Star Wars without a super weapon? But I mentioned previously with episodes like Tatooine Rhapsody, that had a lot of alien species coming back. This one doesn't really, because they're just humans, but we get to see a lot of the more technological aspects of Star Wars make a comeback. Of course, lightsabers and stuff like that shows up, super weapons come back. And we do get a lot of shots of stormtroopers and other Imperial equipment. We see some AT-STs, and we even get a look at a hangar, which, interestingly enough, it doesn't have just TIE fighters, but it also has other ships that don't really belong in the Empire. Like, we see some Jedi Interceptors, which I feel like was pretty awesome to see. Those have been in the Empire before, like Darth Vader had his black interceptor and stuff, but just seeing one in an Imperial hangar was nice to see. And we also see X-Wings. I believe there's an A-Wing, maybe even a Y-Wing, I'm not sure. And I think even a YT freighter, like the same class as the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels, which is really cool to see. When I saw it, I was like, that looks like the Ghost. And it's cool just to see Easter eggs like that, like things that they can't really in these shorts, because it kind of feels like they're just like, all right, you can create something and just, you can use whatever you want to use from Star Wars. You don't have to fit it into the canon. So it's like these people making it may have been like, these are some really cool ship designs, but they didn't really fit with the story we're telling. And that's just like, hey, throw it in there. So that's why we get a hangar with Jedi Interceptors, X-Wings, A-Wings, the Ghost, and TIE Fighters for the Empire. So yeah, it's just really cool to see throwbacks like that, not just in this episode, but through the whole series, which is something that I really like. And kind of the last thing I want to talk about with this episode is the fact that the ending, it felt very much like it was setting up for a potential sequel. Like, it felt like the ending of like Revenge of the Sith, where we see Owen and Beru looking over the Tatooine sunset. It felt like it was setting up a sequel, and I definitely, if they do make a season 2 of this definitely seems like one of the episodes that would get a follow-up. And I could kind of see them doing like a 3-parter, kind of like a this one sets the stage, introduces the characters. Then the second one kind of continues the story, and the third one would wrap it all up. I'm not sure though, because like maybe Am would have the upper hand in the second one, and then would come back and Kare would win, or they could just do a complete twist and Am would win out and the dark side would win. That would be a pretty interesting twist on it that would kind of go with the flow of the Luke and Leia portrayal. But yeah, overall this was a really fun episode. It was the most action-packed and fun one to me, of the first three at least. The duel was it was fun and interesting in like an artful way, but this one was more fun and exciting on a just surface level. And while I did mention it had a simple story, it handled it in a very well structured way to make for a pretty enjoyable episode, and it's one of my favorites. I mean, I've only seen 3, so it's not that hard to say, hey, this is one of the better ones when there's only 3, but I feel like with the whole series in general at the end, which I'm planning on doing a ranking of every episode of the series, so stay tuned for that once I finish them all. But yeah, it was a really good episode, really enjoyed it, and hope to see a sequel one day. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can stay up to date for all my latest content. Like I mentioned, I'm going through the entire series. You can check out my playlist for the entire season's reviews so far. I've done the duel, Tatooine Rhapsody, and now the twins, and I will be going into the next episode very soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.